Right, catching up with Harness Racing Victorian's Chief Steward, Mr. Grant Adams. Firstly, Grant, thank you very much for joining me.
No problem, Paul. Thank you.
Really appreciate the time. I'm down here for a couple of other reasons, but I just wanted to have a brief chat for a start about the new rule implemented, and I think it was its first night in action on the Saturday night. Did it actually go in action Friday night as well?
Friday night.
It was?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so you've got a great little bit of, I suppose, data to look at and see how it went. Firstly, how did it go from your guys' point of view?
Yeah, not too bad actually. Pleasing results. We only had, unfortunately, one suspension for a breach of that particular rule, but that was more down the back straight, not around that final bend. So, but just to give the viewers a bit of a background in relation to that rule, Paul, it's the same rule that's been into effect. All we've actually done is move the candy pole to a new location at Melton. Previously it was at the entry to the back straight, and it's actually relocated to the 400 metre mark. So the rule's still there in its entirety, but it's just been relocated.
So what it means is that you cannot push out when there's a horse outside of you until you get past that candy pole, and it was entering the back straight at Melton, which would be about 700 metres from home.
That's correct.
And now it's gone to that 400 metre mark.
That's correct.
To where it is.
Yep. So there's two limbs to the rule. One is forcing another runner to cover more ground, and then impede the forward progress of another horse.
So half carting not doing it properly.
Basically, yes.
Yeah. It's an interesting one because over the years I've seen it change, and I'm sure you have as well. I remember back at Moonee Valley, I think they first introduced you could push out, and everyone said, "Oh, this is going to make racing so much more exciting," and that. But as I would imagine, as times have changed, and when I say times, much faster they are running, it's so important that when you do pull out to make your run, you can confidently stride down that back straight to make that ground up and have a crack, because that's, I think, one of the big reasons why it is such a leader bias races that we have, is because people are scrimmaging out wide, and it's so hard to make ground out wide as well.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't here back in the Moonee Valley times. Obviously, I've only been in Victoria for about 5 years now, but knowing from Menangle Racing, who had at that track, they have the candy pole again at the 400 metre mark. That was to try and again encourage drivers to move their horses into the race, give the punters that opportunity to see their horse obtain clear running. And through our conversation with the Trainer and the Drivers Association, that was their focus, to say we want some more exciting racing. We want that insurance policy, if you like, for a driver, if they want to get moving down the back straight, that they have the confidence that they won't be pushed wider and then give their horse no chance because they're so far up the track. So we were very much in support of that, and obviously on Friday night and Saturday night, although I'll probably look at it a bit differently now because we've just recently introduced it, there did appear to be a little bit more urgency coming into that final bend to get their horses moving through wide.
Oh, so it did change the way?
I think so. As I said, I looked at it a lot differently because I knew it had changed, but I felt there was a little bit more urgency from the drivers. To get out.
Was that better from your point of view, or did it cause a little bit of...
It didn't cause any further incidents, but I thought it gave a bit more exciting racing. Obviously, you see more horses up at the pointy end of the field come into that that really important part of the race.
I watched one race, I think, on Friday night. I watched quite a few of the races on the Saturday night, and the horses were progressing, pulling out down that back straight. And there was a three-wide train of three horses, and they were... There's something about Murray, I think, was one of the good points in question, because they did stride down that back straight, and obviously there was that little bit of confidence. The unique part about when you've introduced this, your Friday night meeting was lesser class horses, a lot of lesser class horses. I think it was 10 races, might have been.
Yep, that's correct.
So you had a good look at that, and then you have your Metropolitan horse. Did you see much difference in the two coats, the two dates?
No, not really. Obviously, better class of animal on the Saturday night, but I think the drivers drove it very similar. We have similar drivers. Obviously, some others come in on the Friday night. I think over time we will see again a change to the way drivers adapt to this style of racing. So within the first months, I would see that people will get going to see if it works or not, and then they may bring that back a little bit in the later part of the trial. So early days, I think, is a very positive move.
It is only a trial period for...
no less than 3 months at this point. We've given it a good 3-month period. So through this process, we will have regular catch-up with the Trainers and Drivers Association to ensure that they're happy with the progress, and likewise the stewards are happy. Again, we'll review wagering, make sure that there's no downturn in that, which I don't expect there to be. If anything, it should be a positive move.
Will it only stay at Melton, or...?
Well, Only at this point. If there is positive feedback, we will then look to maintain at Melton and obviously move to other tracks in the state as well. But we felt at the initial phase of this testing period to keep it to Melton rather than bring it to the wider audience, if you like, in Victoria.
I think that's a really important part because it is a test and we can watch that. And now that we do race it, Shepparton Tuesday, Bendigo Wednesday, Kilmore or Ballarat the Thursday, Geelong and Melton Friday, it could be very easily implemented.
Yep.
But then it could get very messy very quickly for
That's
other
right.
tracks like the Charltons and that still race a large portion of the time, but you go back to that old rule. So it has to be a bit of a juggling act in that sense.
Absolutely. And you look at half-mile tracks against the other meter tracks as well. So I personally don't think a track like Mildura would need it because they get moving. Everyone wants to get up there because it's a short track, so they have to get up there and get close.
Echuca, same thing, isn't it?
That's right. So tracks like that probably wouldn't benefit from the move, but then we might then say, okay, it works well at Melton, let's bring it to the wider 1,000 metre tracks.
You're a harness racing person, born and bred and raised up around it. We do get class as being a leader biased track, but I think number one part of that is the speeds that they go now is one of the main reasons they do that. But is there another reason that you think we have become such a leader biased race in that sense? Like, is it just how fit all our horses are now and things along those lines? Or?
Yeah, I think you touched on it, the speed. I think they're running so quick. The horses are bred better, they're bred faster, they're stronger.
And they all are, aren't they?
And they all are. Yeah. So sometimes being two pairs back in the run, it is absolutely impossible being wider on the track to actually make ground later on in the home straight. We do see it a lot. It's unfortunate because everyone talks about that bias and we would like to have an even playing field against horses coming wider and coming from the back in the field. But I think the speed, the toughness of the animal is probably the main crucial point.
They still can come from the back of the field. It's just that races got to be run that right way. And this may actually make that because I make stronger moves down the back, run faster down the back straight, which means the sweeper's got a chance of coming over the top of them up the straight. So
exactly.
It does work that way. It's quite interesting. I read an article a year ago in America and they want to try and modify, and I'm not going to ask you about the lean in that any sense there, but that's one of the things they've found over there. The traditionalists over there have found that because of the lean, they're actually getting further behind. So the carts are so short, they're up there. Sorry about that, should have turned my phone off. They're then so far further back that the third horse is not 3 carts back. He's actually nearly 4 carts back because of that lean. So then when they're making their runs wide, and that's one of the things I know they were looking at. I don't think they'll change it because the drivers will have too much of a say. But yeah, it's quite interesting the effects it can have on why we have become such a leader biased race product, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about the lean, obviously we allow up to about 45 degrees for our drivers. There's been plenty of talk to say that there's for the carts to be lifted on the back of the horse's sulky to aid the horse being pushed forward. But obviously at this point we're still conscious of the safety aspect of someone leaning back too far.
Yep, and I see it, and we all see it, and sometimes that lean is accentuated by the horse being out of control.
Correct.
So it is a juggling act. We said there before we went to air that you've been in the job almost 12 months. How are you enjoying it?
Yeah, challenge. It's always a challenge, but I work with a very good bunch of stewards, so enjoying the challenge, but very busy.
Yeah, and this time of year now I think would be quite good, but coming off that summer carnival, it was so successful, so many interstate people coming through, I would imagine you would have been stretched pretty thin through that period of time. Yeah,
we are at the moment, but I think racing continues. Those time of year are very exciting to see the best horses come here. Leap to Fame, just amazing job he did over the series, King Zahara. Like, that's why we come to racing, to see those animals in the flesh, and really appreciate that. But even now we race basically every day, so we've got to be on top of everything. So it doesn't matter if it's Group 1 or a maiden class racing, it's the same rules apply.
Random question. Do you find yourself actually enjoying Leap to Fame's, King Zahara's from time to time as someone that's been brought up around the game, or do you find yourself you have to be professional while the race was on, but later on go back and watch the replay and just enjoy it? Yeah,
you reflect back on the performance. Yeah. You enjoy those nights. There's a lot more pressure on those nights, but you always go back and reflect. You read the media reports and you think, absolutely, that was a fantastic run. Yeah. But I think in the moment you're conscious of the race and the rules around the race, but definitely reflect back on it.
Grant, thank you. Appreciate it. We'll try and do a few more of these over the journey as rules come in and even things be raised, I suppose, from people. Just get the message out there. But mate, well done to Harness Racing Victoria for looking at it and changing it. We need to try things, and I think this is a good try because it's not really going to handicap too many people. The rules there, it's pretty, and if it does work, we've got a better product going out there, which is what we all want. So thank you very much. Absolutely. And really appreciate it.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks very much.